I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today, we're very pleased to be talking with Ramona Seneen. She is the creative director of the upcoming Memphis Art and Fashion Week. So stay with us for a conversation with Seneen. Seneen, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. We'll talk a bunch about Fashion Week coming up and the schedule, and people can learn more, before I forget to say it, at memphis.fashion. There's tickets, schedule events and stuff that we'll talk through. Also talk about your background, your work at the U of M, some of the headline designers, and anything else we get to. So, okay. But let's start with Fashion Week. What is it? And it's evolved over, a couple years now? So.
It has. I approached Zoe Carr about 4 years ago, and I had this wonderful idea of there's such a blurred line between art and fashion. I mean, we're starting to see it more and more, like on runway shows. You're seeing fashion in exhibitions and museums now. And so I approached Zoe with this idea of having not just a Memphis Fashion Week, but having an art and fashion week celebrating not just traditional runway, but also art as fashion, or in fashion as art. And so with that, I mean, I feel very fortunate because Zoe, the executive director of Brooks Museum, had come from LA just recently. She was at LACMA, and I just moved here from LA about 9 years ago. And so Zoe and I had a great conversation, and she was absolutely just receptive of the idea. And so the very first year we thought, okay, we'll just try a runway and see how it works. And so that year we sold out, and then we got more seats, and we opened up the upstairs, and we sold out again in 7 minutes. I mean, so that it was there. And Memphis, the talent is here, and we just needed someplace wonderful to showcase it, who appreciated fashion as an art form also. So that's kind of how it started, with a wonderful conversation with Zoe and a trial run. And now we are an entire week long, and all the events were selling out. Like last year, once again, the runway show with Coteau is our headline designer, sold out. So for those of you out there, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet,
yeah.
So it will sell out, at least the runway will. So.
The runway. Talk about what most everyone can envision a runway and a fashion, but what does that mean to you, someone on the inside of fashion? I mean, what is the runway?
The runway, I mean, it's like the art opening, in the art world. I mean, this is where we as designers, and this is really special to me because I am stepping out of my designer role for this as creative director of Memphis Art and Fashion Week, because usually I'm on the other side of that and I'm telling my own story, when I'm putting things down the runway. But in this creative role, it's much bigger because we're celebrating, we're all coming together and celebrating Memphis. And I always feel like Memphis is really the host of this, the city. Yeah. And with our headline designer coming in, Michael No, this year, he actually is creating 5 looks inspired by Memphis to add to the collection to go down the runway on Friday night of May 8th. So that's super exciting too. So having that celebration. And then
other local designers designers from out of town, kind of give you might...
Okay.
Apologies in advance if I make you miss someone, but just give us a rundown of the kind of people and so on.
Okay, we have open applications, and they are open regionally. They're open nationally. We had applications from Alabama, New Orleans, Little Rock, New York, LA, Colorado. So we had designers applying all over. And then there also is in local designers as well. So it's kind of a celebration of these regional and national. They're welcome, but it's also a celebration of our talent we have here. So we have several Memphis featured designers as well that will go down the runway before Michael. So the way it works, and part of my vision was that it's inclusive. It's inclusive of students, emerging designers, featured designers, and headline designers all coming together, as well as not just designers, but Memphis retail, students, stylists, anybody who like wants to celebrate fashion. And it's just, it's like the kickoff party that's exactly what it is. It's a party.
Yeah.
So Monday night, May 4th is our Met Gala watch party. So every year that starts off our fashion week, and we get together, screens are all over the museum, cocktails, and just people dressing up. And with the theme this year, costume art. So, and then fashion as art. It just seemed very appropriate that I asked Michael No, who is a celebrity designer, and he's designed for Beyonce and Ariana Grande, and so it just seemed appropriate that he would be our headline designer this year, and he said yes.
Yeah, and is that the theme for all the designers for the runway event? The runway is on what? Let's see, May 8th.
May 8th.
Yeah, is it really just bring what you do best?
No, it's bringing your brand.
Yeah,
But Monday night is the celebration.
Gotcha.
People come decked out, and there's a winner for the night, and then the winner of the I guess the Memphis or the Met Gala watch party then next year becomes one of the hosts.
Oh, okay.
So last year Christopher won, so now Christopher's coming back with Colin, who is from Joseph, and so they're hosting this year, and so it's just like I said, it's a party, it's a celebration, it kicks off the week.
Yeah. And again, people can get tickets at memphis.fashion and learn all about these things. There's also a high tea. There's an art and aperitifs. Mm-hmm. Then there's a family event on the 9th. Is
on
that
Saturday,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's pretty inclusive. We try to hit everything, and we're doing something this year. We're doing a daytime runway with the luncheon, the high tea. And to me, that's really wonderful because it's like old school boutique runway. We're doing retailers here in Memphis. They style looks from their shops and their stores, and we take it down a small intimate runway out in a courtyard at the museum. And so that way retailers are involved, and people can take a runway in a different way.
Everything's at the Brooks.
Yes.
At the Brooks
year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And presumably moving to the new building next year when it opens.
So we're real excited about that one.
Your background. So you came here. You mentioned 9 years ago. You run the fashion program at the University of Memphis.
I do. I moved here 9 years ago, and there was a merchandising program at the U of M, and they were looking for someone to come in and kind of update that program. And then when I got here, I realized that there was no fashion design program in the region at that time. And so I pitched the idea. And then we took it to the Curriculum Council at the University of Memphis. The idea of the degree was approved. So I spent my first year writing the fashion design program, all of its syllabi, its courses. So now we're up and we're strong and we're growing and growing and growing. And we started with, I think, a cohort of like 9 students the very first semester. And now we're approaching close to 50 design students. And so from our last department meeting, fashion is just, they were just celebrating how we're just growing. We grew almost 10% last year.
One small thing, a merchandising program. Is that merchandising of fashion or of
fashion
just
merchandising?
Yeah. Huh. Does that still exist?
Yes. Yes. So it is I came in and updated that program too. And so we have a fashion merchandising concentration and a fashion design concentration, both within the Department of Art and Design at the U of M. And so students too, and that was kind of part of it, like getting students involved was something that I approached Zoe with as well, and partnering with the U of M fashion program with Memphis Art and Fashion Week. So we have merchandising students who help us backstage with styling, running back of house, event production. And then we have our fashion design students, actually our continuing students and our graduating students kick off the runway that night with things that they've done, continued students, and then our graduating students put their senior collections down the runway at the beginning of Friday night.
And so that's really interesting because I'm sure it's just invaluable for students to be backstage, to see how the sausage is made, to see all the perfect, everything goes perfect backstage, right? That's all it's all about.
No, it's always perfect. And it's always, nice language, but there's things that I tell the students all the time. There's things you just can't learn in a classroom. You just cannot. Yeah. And the chaos, the beautiful chaos of a backstage, because last year we had 180 something looks go down the runway. It was amazing. Like at the end of it, I slept for 2 days when it was over. But the students, they would never get to experience that in the classroom. So it's important to me that they're there.
Absolutely. And another side note, the 180 looks, I'm not going to use that phrase real confidently, looks going down the runway. About how many models is that made up of?
We had over 100 models. And so then we would kind of what we refer to as recycling models.
Sure.
And rotating them. So I have an amazing backstage coordinator that works with me. His name is Josh Nichols. And the way his mind, where he can just like, okay, this model's with this one. We'll have 3 other models. We can get her out of this and into that by the time. I mean, so he's just such an well-oiled machine backstage. I couldn't do it without him.
The models are from Memphis, around the country,
around the area. We actually this year we had regional models, and we did have one coming in, I think, from New Jersey, who applied because we did a remote call this year, which kind of reached out to models who couldn't physically be here.
And that's a opportunity for them as well.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
I mean, that's not just a job. I mean, it's a job or whatever, but it's all those things. It's a chance to get more experience on runways and work their way into other fashion weeks and other events and so on.
Yeah, it's great for their portfolios, you know?
Yeah. Let me remind everyone we're here with Soneen. She is the creative director for Memphis Art and Fashion Week in its 3rd year. Right, yes. 24, 25, 26, 3rd year, done in association with the Brooks Museum. Let me take a minute and just do some quick housekeeping. We'll come back with Soneen and talk more about Fashion Week, talk about the program, talk about her work in fashion. But I'll remind everyone, I'm Eric Barnes, and this is The Sidebar. It airs here on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30, focused on the community, arts, culture, and everything in between. It's not just a radio show, though. It's one of many podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including our morning podcast, the AM DM with Mary Casciola, as well as Natalie Van Gundy and many voices from our staff at the Daily Memphian. We also have the Memphis Grizzlies podcast with Chris Harrington and Drew Hill. That's weekly. And our food podcast, Soundbites, hosted by Holly Whitfield. Soundbites also airs on WYXR every Thursday at 11. We also host the podcast version of Behind the Headlines, the TV show we produce with the folks at WKNO every week. All of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get the Sidebar and Soundbites at WYXR.org or download the WYXR app. That includes all the shows, talk, listen, archives of all the shows that are being done by all the volunteer DJs on WYXR. If you're not a supporter of WYXR, it is nonprofit, listener-supported radio. Become a member, get a bunch of great benefits, do a one-off donations. That's really what makes WYXR possible. And the Daily Memphian, also a nonprofit, but we do have the largest newsroom in the region with 40 plus reporters, contributors, all that sort of thing. You can become a paid subscriber if you're not already one, and you can do one-off donations. We are a nonprofit. The donations cover about 25% of what we do. Last week on the Sidebar, we had Karen Carrier. It was awesome. Karen's always great. We talked a lot about food, of course, beauty shop, Molly LaFontaine, the history of the original Automatic Slims, but also she is a graduate of the Memphis College of Art. So she talked a lot about a dinner gathering that they have going on, Legacy at the Table. You can go to the Brooks Museum, also in conjunction with the Brooks, and learn more about that dinner series and the exhibit right now, Memphis College of Art, 1936 to 2020, an enduring legacy. We also recently had Marina Pacini, who is the curator of that exhibit. Pacini. See, she pronounced, her brother is Pacini and she is Pacini, and it screws me up. We've done recent shows on Girls Inc. We've done shows on the ballet. On Behind the Headlines, we recently had Paul Young, Mayor of Memphis, as well as U.S. Attorney Mike Donovan. But we are here with Soneen, the creative director of Memphis Art and Fashion Week. Make that work. But with Soneen, what is your background in terms of getting into fashion?
I know people always ask me that. And like, when did you first no, or, and I always say I was maybe 4 or 5 years old and I got my first pair of white go-go boots. It was over. That was it. Yeah. That's just that one key moment in my life. And it just always had been something that I was just attracted to. And then going to college. And then, when I was in college, there wasn't a fashion design degree, and so I majored in, fine art and then kind of carved my way into fashion with that. And then back in LA, like just working in costume and film and things along those lines. And I've worked on a whole lot of things you've never heard of. And then I think, and my one that I did that you have, was I was working with the costume designer as their assistant on Girl Interrupted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, you never know when someone gives you a phone call like, hey, I've got this film, blah, 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 needs help, da, da, da. And you're like, okay. And then next thing you know, it's an Oscar winning,
amazing.
And then, but what in LA, I taught. So I taught at, the Art Institute of California. I did some adjunct work, as well as FITM. And then, and I don't mean for this to be a sad story, but my sister passed away and my mother lives in Memphis. And so I started coming back to visit my mom more here. And that's where I met my husband, the sculptor Greeley Myatt here from Memphis. So Greeley's my husband. But, so then that's how, cause people are always like, why are you like, why did you leave LA? And I'm like, well, love makes you do crazy things. And, but it just happened that the U of M was looking for someone in the fashion program because the person running it was retiring, and it was just all the timing that happened. And so I applied for the position and got it, and so here I am in Memphis. But still have the house in Venice Beach, so back and forth.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
But and so that's how it started. And like I said, it's just grown and grown. And I mean, Memphis is just amazing. The talent here, and I mean, like I said, I see it in the students, and I mean, I see it in the applications. Like this year was hard. It was really hard, because we were limited on how many we could do down the runway. And it's my hope maybe in the future that we can have a 2-night runway event, so we can showcase even more. But
it's I was thinking about it of the fashion thing, and it makes sense with Memphis because Memphis it's a city with a lot of culture, a lot of history, a lot of diversity, a lot of music, a lot of really great artists like your husband. I mean, and so all that does come, fashion is either an expression of that, it's adjacent to it, it supports it, right? I mean,
it's all of that.
All that. Yeah.
We even have a category that I'm partial to because me personally, I'm a couture designer. I do couture and wearable art. And so I actually use a lot of non-traditional materials in my own work and using paper clay and sculpting bodices and things along those lines. So what we do have is a category called wearable art. And so we have designers who then can get a little more avant-garde. And I realized too that in the Department of Art, a lot of the sculpture students will take our sewing classes and our patterning classes.
Oh, of course.
And then they'll take that back to sculpture. And so we're just starting to see, like I said, this beautiful blurred line between fashion and art. And Memphis Art and Fashion Week that's part of it, is it's celebrating that. Yeah.
Well, actually, and we talk about Karen Carrier from, Beauty Shop and the other restaurants, another roadside attraction. Before we started, I always ask people, I did this laborious thing with you, what's your title and the formal stuff. And I asked Karen, are you a restaurateur? And she goes, actually, I'm a food artist. Which makes perfect sense if you've ever been to the beauty shop or you've ever been.
She's amazing.
Right.
Like last year's runway. I mean, that was it. When we decided we were going to do a dinner last year, I was like, we have to have Karen. Karen has to do it. And Karen being Karen set the bar high last year when she did our fashion dinner. So she truly is a food artist.
Well, on the movie stuff, the LA's changed a lot. I think about this only because, there's so much of the work now is outside LA that people think of as Hollywood movies. It's in Atlanta. It's in New Mexico at its time, Canada. Did you witness that, or has that just changed a lot post your time?
That changed post my time. Yeah. And part of it too, like living in LA and, hustling and being a single mom and just teaching was where I ended up because it was just a little more stable.
Sure.
For me.
Stability is underrated sometimes. Sometimes underrated.
But also, and I found that I loved it. I found that I loved it. And so, I just feel really lucky.
Yeah.
And that, coming here and being able to do the same thing.
Yeah. I'm curious, fashion, and during the time you've been in and around it and teaching it, how has it changed overall? Maybe, I don't know if I mean as an industry, maybe let's start with as an industry and a business. We can talk about how the content and the styles have changed, but just that industry business side, how has it changed?
Technology. You know, I mean, that is something that I'm constantly rewriting my curriculum because of technology and its advancements. You know, I mean, there's still like, you know, old school, straight up like sewing, patterning, but then you get into computer aided fashion drawing and technical drawings and doing tech packs and sending these tech packs off for manufacturing are all done on the computer now, not by hand. And so this is something that is constantly being looked at and, like I said, updated as we go.
Yeah. And is that, and now 3D printing or quicker, you can get prototypes faster. You can get, am I saying that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we used to use a Gerber was our pattern making. And then about 3 years ago, I brought in Clo 3D. And then that is more of that 3-dimensional. You can take a flat 2D pattern and then you can see it 3D on like an avatar as you design. And so we're just seeing amazing things in fashion, you know?
And is it also created opportunities for shorter, more I don't know if it's cost effective, but cost possible runs of things? I mean, is that over there, you know, in terms of production?
It is production and in fashion merchandising, they certainly take, you know, they learn production and sourcing and tech design and those kind of things. But, you know, part of what I did when I wrote this program at the U of M was back to what Memphis Art and Fashion Week is about as well, is a celebration of fashion as art and not losing that component of it. And we do we do teach, like I said, we have product development and social responsibility, you know, tech design, all of that. But we also do have more of the wearable art and the creative part in the fashion program also.
Fashion and music. Michael No, you mentioned who's the headline designer this year. He's dressed for, I'm learning all this, my terminology here. Beyonce, Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, Blackpink. How is that? I mean, we think of back to Elvis, I don't know, because we're just sitting here in Memphis, back to the Beatles, back to whatever. There's all this sort of connection, you know, James Brown, between fashion and music. More so now, or just at a higher, bigger level?
I think at a more, like it's a higher, bigger level. It's always been there, but now we have the technology where everybody can see it, you know, I mean, through social media and everything, you know, but I think they've always been just inseparable, you know? Because there's always that, you know, it's like my mom used to explain me away this way, you know, it's like, you know, the big hair, all this, you know, and then she was like, oh, she's an artist. And then all of a sudden her friends were like, oh, like all of a sudden I was understood, you know? And so there's always been this kind of like music and artists and fashion and, you know.
Fashion is, and not to have a political conversation, but fashion is sort of a reflection of politics sometimes, right? Whether it's a pushing back against or a celebration of or all of the above.
Yeah. I mean, you see it in costume history, you know. I mean, what's going on in the times certainly is reflected in the clothing, you know, of that time.
Do you find your students wanting that, or no, it's more the art separate from politics?
I'm finding with the students I have in Memphis, it's more about the art. I mean, I do have a student this semester whose senior collection, which will be going down the runway, is, you know, going back into the 60s and celebrating Black Panther and not a literal, you know, but taking elements and then in a more contemporary way, putting them in her collection down the runway. Sure. So she was tapping into that this semester in her final collection. But then we have another student who is all about, like, I mean, just deconstructing everything he sees or they see and then piecing it all back together again, you know? So there's a wonderful art form to that, you know? So, you know, I just help them, guide them, find out what they want to do and be, and then help them be the best at that, you know, as much as I can. I'm
always struck, again, it's partly a Memphis thing, but, you know, to be in Memphis, you know that the I Am a Man, the cards that they wore during the strike, those were just simply put together to say I'm a man and to march against what was going on in the sanitation strike. They're now incorporated. You'll see them repurposed in art museums. There was a photo from, I think last year, someone at one of the events had an I Am.
That was one of our designers from last year.
On the front of, and I don't know if I just saw the front, but it wasn't the full I Am. But anybody who knows that sign, especially from Memphis, you're like, oh, he's taken that and put in this cool sweater. But that simple, whoever drew that simple I Am a Man, it then becomes incorporated in all these kinds of other things. Yeah. So, you mentioned technology. I can't help, we don't have to dwell on it. AI. Does it worry you? Is it great? Is it strange? Is it unknown? All the above?
It's all the above. I mean, we're all trying to figure it out a little, I can't say that there's some that I really love, that are out on social media with fashion. And it's AI. It's so over the top. But what it does is it inspires me as a couture and wearable art designer. It's like, okay, now in real life, in gravity, it's like, how could I make that happen and create something that would go down the runway? So it's inspiring to me in that way.
Yeah. We're personally not floating down the runway quite yet, with a helium balloon. Right? With a couple minutes left, let's go back through, make sure everybody knows. Memphis.fashion.
Yes.
Fashion Week starts May 4th with the Met Gala watch party. There's a high tea, art and aperitifs. The runway, the big event there, and the after party is May 8th. There's tickets available to some or all of this still available.
All of this. And I really want to talk just a minute too about the art and aperitifs with Michael. This is a wonderful event, and it opens up for everybody in Memphis to come and talk to him. It's open to questions at the end. So Michael will be telling his story, his origin story, if you will, and how it started. And Lady Gaga had a little to do with that. But, but I think it's important. And, the students, I've gotten tickets for the students, and, it's like, make sure you're there. So, this is where you can tap into his brain. So I'm hoping that Memphis will turn out for that as well, and just enjoy being able to talk to a designer like Michael just in a very casual setting,
Yeah. And I should note that El Perry on our staff is doing some more, I think, profiles of Michael and others. It'll be on, by the time this airs, should be on the Daily Memphian site, so people can learn more there. And again, they can also go to Memphis.fashion. I always ask everybody, what was your first concert?
Oh my God.
Yeah, many people have this response. Like, what's the first one even that comes to mind?
The one that stood in my mind forever would be like the Stray Cats.
Okay,
Brian Setzer.
But
that was the one that would forever.
Where was that?
That was here in Memphis. Was here in Memphis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
at the Pyramid? Maybe.
No, it was a long time ago.
No, it would have been Coliseum.
Yeah, it was
at the Coliseum.
I don't even remember the year.
Yeah,
So,
the Stray Cats. That's the first. Okay, well, that's good. People can learn more about you on social.
Oh, absolutely.
Instagram. Yeah, get what the handles or what people should
Purgatory and Purrcatori.
Okay.
Or if you just type in Ramona Sonian, it'll take you to Purgatory.
Okay. All right. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for being here. Again, people should go to Memphis.fashion, learn more about all the events and all the things we've been talking about. That is, though, all the time we have this week. If you missed any of the episode, you can get the full episode online at the Daily Memphian site, WYXR, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.